Hello girls and gays, it is LBtwink and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Thomas. In today's video, we kind of have a more serious topic to touch on, which is a topic that I come on my channel a lot to kind of just talk about. For anyone who doesn't know, or for anyone who might be new here, I am 20 years old now and I am HIV positive, and I have known for a little over 2.5 years now. Every so often, I just feel the need to come on camera and kind of just share with you guys little updates here and there about my life, what's going on and what's going on with this aspect of my life. A lot of people always have questions about this. This is something that I think about every single day, and something that is very unusual in the sense of, like, I don't know a lot of people my age or like anyone my fucking age who has this. I kind of make these videos for the people out there who are like me or who are younger and who just need someone to kind of not necessarily look up to, but like look up to. I feel like I make these videos because I wish I had someone there to look up to. I just want to be that person for other people who are maybe younger going through the same thing. I want to be someone that they can look up to. Today we're just here to talk about the elephant in the room, which is HIV, AIDS, all that jazz, and I just want to share with you guys what I know about it and my experience going through it. This isn't really going to be the story of like how I got it. This is just going to be just a video of me just kind of like touching on it. I made myself a cup of coffee. I have work at 9 a.m. tomorrow and it is currently 7 p.m. and I'm drinking a cup of coffee because I am a crackhead. The first thing I kind of want to touch on, HIV is a autoimmune disease which basically attacks your immune system. Once it attacks your immune system, it goes down and down. It basically just kills off your immune system. And once you get below a certain amount of white blood cells in your body, that is when it is considered AIDS. A lot of people kind of get HIV mixed up with AIDS. AIDS is when your body falls below a certain amount of white blood cells, and then that is when it is considered AIDS because your immune system is pretty much just weakening, and it's weak enough to a point where it becomes dangerous. HIV is the virus and AIDS is what HIV leads to if you do not treat it. If there's some things that I wish I knew when I was younger, what could have prevented me from doing all of this is like the very first basic thing is like condoms, guys. When you wear a condom, of course you're being protected from STDs and pregnancy in some cases, not 100%. Not for gay men obviously, but for women in general too. But wearing a condom is very important because when you have sex and you wear a condom, especially if you have multiple partners, you don't know what other people are carrying. That's kind of the situation I myself ended up in. I was never informed that anyone that I was with was HIV positive. They just let it happen, which is a shame, but you know, life goes on. I'm here now, almost 12k subscribers deep, come the fuck through. Another thing you could do to prevent getting it is staying away from drugs. In my case, the reason why I was so willing to have unprotected sex with people I didn't really know was because I was doing a lot of drugs. I was doing harder drugs at the time. It's just a big thing because when you are high off these substances, your mind kind of isn't in the right state per se. I was making these decisions without really knowing the effects that it would have on me later on. I kind of choke up when I talk about this. I just get a little nervous. Using drugs obviously hinders your ability to make decisions for yourself, being the fact that while this was all going on, I was probably 16 years old, maybe starting to be 17 years old. I didn't really know much about it, which is another reason I kind of come on here and talk about it, is this isn't really something they teach you guys in school. America, step your education system up. There are also other preventatives that you guys could take, one being called PrEP. PrEP is basically this little blue tiny pill that you take every day that helps you prevent HIV, and this is also something that is not only available for gay men, but also for anyone who is scared of getting HIV. Right now, I am in a relationship with someone who is HIV negative. That is one of the steps that we take in prevention besides me taking my own medication. He has his medication that he takes, and so if I take my medication, I'm fine and I cannot give it to him. Just to add that extra barrier of protection, he takes his medication, and so there's virtually no risk for that. Regularly go get tested. No matter how scared you are, no matter what you think is gonna be there, you should just go get tested. The thing is, like, if you have something, I feel like it's so much better to know than to like not know. I got my first HIV test when I was like 14 years old. I went with all my friends and we just did it for fun. Little did I know that going and getting tested, it's like something that's very, very important. It's not only gay people who get it, straight people can get it. Anyone who is sexually active can get it. So like, guys, if you're sexually active, go get tested, because the worst thing besides you not knowing would be you spreading it around to other people and still not knowing, and then when the time comes up, we're all fucked. Another thing I wanted to touch on here is medication. Pretty much, we're in a day and age where HIV is not a death sentence, and that is something that everyone needs to drill inside their head. Having HIV literally doesn't mean you're gonna fucking die. Having HIV now means you have this autoimmune disease that you need to take medication for. I am limited down to 1 pill a day, and I've only ever been on 1 pill a day. The medication that I take personally is called Genvoya. I know there's many different kinds. Some people may take more than 1 pill. We're in a time in life where medication is so advanced, things like this are controllable. If we look back and we look back in like the 80s during like the AIDS crisis, it was still in a testing state where people didn't really know how to fix this issue, and that's why people were dying from it, because people would eventually end up with AIDS, and obviously like everything would get super fucking weak. When you take medication, like the side effects I had were so fucking minimal that I don't even remember them. Literally just 1 pill a day, I pop it, and besides that, like, I feel fine. I'm not worried when I get sick or anything that I'm just gonna fall over and croak. It's just not something I really worry about. I just take my meds every day. Since we're talking about medication, I feel like I should talk about what I know about doctor's visits. Once I was diagnosed, I was 17 and a half, I was very scared to kind of open up to my family about that. What that caused me to do was to not go to a doctor for the first 6 months after I found out, which is also pretty petrifying of me to do. That definitely is not a good example. Don't do what I did. If you find out, even if you're underage, please just go to a doctor. The doctors are really there to just help you the fuck out. I know here in California, my doctors help me out with so many things, whether it be if I needed housing, if I needed food, if I needed money. They can help connect me to programs that are going to help aid me with that kind of stuff. A lot of the times I feel like people who are younger and feel like they get this and they're scared to like tell their family about it is because they're scared of like how their family's gonna react. And I definitely was one of those people. My family didn't find out until I posted a whole ass YouTube video about it. The doctors are there to help you. I am so lucky enough to go to a clinic that is so helpful, so nice. I just went there this morning to get like a shot in my arm, and they're just the most supportive people. I cannot stress enough how like much anyone who is in this situation just needs to reach out and go to a doctor. It's gonna be a lot of doctor's visits for the first couple months. After that, I wanna say I go for checkups about HIV every 6 months now. It used to be every month for like the first 6 to 8 months. It's manageable if I can do it. I'm unstable as fuck and I'm a mess. If you watch my channel, you know I'm a fucking mess. It's just like any normal doctor's visit. When I first found out, I isolated myself very much so. That was really the biggest killer throughout this whole diagnosis. What that isolation caused was like depression, anxiety, insecurity. All of that was so pent up inside of me. I just felt like I had like a weight weighing me down on my shoulders. The tea is, once I came forward and once I was completely honest and open about that with everyone, coming out on the internet and telling my story, I was able to find out that I did not give a fuck what other people had to say, how anyone else was gonna treat me. I did not think I was gonna have a good reaction at first coming forward with everything that I've come forward with. It's been crazy the amount of support. Everyone is so willing to learn about HIV and like what I have to say, and it's because not a lot of people in this day and age come forward and talk about it. You're taught in school that it's just something that you don't want to get, which you don't want to get it, but if you have it, there's no shame in that. That's just the game of fucking life. If anything, I feel like this has made me a much stronger person. As weird as this is gonna sound, in my life, I was meant to get HIV. That's like really weird for me to just say on camera in front of like thousands of people, but like that's the tea on it. If there was anything for me to leave a mark on here on earth, I would like it to be for me to change the stigma around HIV. I think I've done a lot so far in the time that I have just come forward and talked about it, which has been about a year. There's not a lot of people just willing to come forward and talk about it. Most people just isolate yourself. There's always shit going on in our lives. You just need to take that shit and you need to learn from it and you need to use it to benefit you. If I never came forward about my HIV status or anything, who the fuck would I be? Just to like kind of finish off this video and wrap up, I kind of wanted to come on and answer some questions for you guys. I asked you guys on Instagram, shameless self-plug, follow me on Instagram. I asked you guys to ask me questions about things that like people want to ask people who are HIV positive, but not everyone like knows someone who's HIV positive. The first question I have was, did you know a lot about it before you were diagnosed with it? Truly, I did not really know that much about it. Like I said, in school, they don't really teach you that much about HIV. I learned everything after I found out I was HIV positive. The next question, should you still tell your partner if you have HIV even if you're undetectable? The answer to this is a hard yes. Being transparent about your status is also part of living with it, because anyone who is HIV positive and who is undetectable, letting other people know and educating them about it is one of the ways that more people are going to understand how this works. It's gonna help kill the stigma around it when we educate people more than if we just tell them our status and don't really say anything. And the next one, kind of leading off of the last one, says, do you ever get nervous telling your partners about it? And yes, I do. I haven't really had to deal with that in months because I do only have one partner. Yes, it is scary. If people don't accept it, that's ignorance, hun. That's what we do not want to surround ourselves with. How do you prevent HIV from becoming AIDS? And the simple answer to that is keep up with your medication, take it every day, because that's what's gonna help you the most. What would you tell someone who has the mentality, I'm never gonna catch anything, like I'm invincible? And what I have to say is I was that bitch, and then look at me now. How does living with HIV affect your daily life? How did it when you were first diagnosed? Now, when I was first diagnosed and I kept it to myself, it affected me emotionally more than anything. Living with it and it affecting my daily life is like, the gag is like, it literally doesn't change shit. I'm still the person who I was before I found out. But I think I've just grown and it's shaped me into the way I am. It doesn't really affect my day-to-day life. Now, the last question I'm going to answer before I wrap this video up is, how did guys usually react when you mention your status in the dating scene and Grindr? And this is part of the reason why I make these videos, is because whenever I would tell anyone when I very first found out, and before it was very prominent in proof that undetectable means untransmittable, they would honestly either ghost me and block me, and I think that made me feel very, very shitty. It also made me like kind of narrow it down and realize, like, you know, only fuck with people who are educated. Alright guys, so like I said earlier in this video is brought to you by Binks Health, and what they are is a STD at-home testing kit. For those of you who do not kind of want to go in person, they do offer these little testing kits. They give you a little guide right here on how to take the test, and then they send you one of these little boxes. Inside this little box comes little testing kits. This is very medical stuff, all stuff that you can use at home, and you pretty much take the test at home and then you go ahead and send it back, and they send you your results within a couple days. And so that makes it a lot easier and a lot less stressful than going to the doctor. So like I said, thank you again to Binks Health for making this video possible. Their website will be linked inside the bio. I want to say, if you've made it this far, thank you for coming to my big ass brain dump, and I hope you guys take something from this video, whether you be educated or uneducated about HIV. I hope we all learn something here. Just make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. I just need the validation for coming on here and doing so. I hope you guys all have a very great rest of your night. Stay smart, stay protected. I love you all. XOXO, LBtwink.